Hey guys, check it out. We're looking at the new Pioneer DJS-1000. Reason I'm making this video, of course, because as you may or may not know, I just recently bought the Pioneer DJ Toraiz-SP 16. And that was just literally weeks ago, a couple $1,000s later. And then these guys come out with this one. So I originally bought my unit because I'm a DJ, not a really producer, and I want to be able to chop things up, do things on the fly, sample, sequence, all of that fun stuff. So at the time, the Pioneer DJ Toraiz-SP 16 looked like the best tool for the job. But here we go. We have this new guy here, and let me just point right out of the gate. One of the things that this doesn't have, and it's about the same price by the looks of things, like around the $2,000 Canadian mark, is it's missing the Dave Smith filters. That was kind of the real big talk about the Toraiz-SP 16, the Dave Smith analog filter, the same thing that's in the, I think it's the Jupiter keyboards. I don't know shit about synths, to be honest. But that filter sounds really, really nice, and it was a really great feature. Of course, fast forward to now, and they took that away. I guess they didn't feel the need for that filter, when really that was, to me, one of the best features of that drum machine as opposed to other drum machines. But they did kind of make it a better form factor for a DJ booth. They think they did anyways, because you can slide it in where there's another CDJ. The real reality is most clubs that I've been into in Toronto only have two CDJs. They don't necessarily have four CDJs to be able to pull one out and slide that one in. Where with the Toraiz and the form factor that it has, I can literally bring a laptop stand, slide it underneath the mixer, put it right on top, right in front, dead center. And I personally think having that dead center on a performance mode, when people are watching a DJ, they can see what a DJ is doing with the samples and with the pads. When it's down on the side like that, it's just another excuse to have to look down and not be looking at the crowd. Just my initial observation as I'm looking at this unit. One of the things it does seem to have, as I'm looking, is right in there. As you're playing the sample, you see what sample's playing. On the Toraiz, you don't really see like the levels on it. It has a couple other modes as well too. Let me just see if I can pull up another image so we can give you a better idea what I'm talking about here. Do a little zoom in action on this thing here. And we can take a look at all the fun stuff. Perfect. This works out great. So yeah, you can kind of see how it has these like little icons to show what's a kick, what's a snare, all that stuff. They kind of took that from the Native Instruments machine stuff, as far as I'm concerned. So this unit really does look like it's a little bit more in tune with the DJ system than it is as just being part of your studio for and all that, because you have like with the beat sync, you have the sync and the master, where on the Toraiz I have to go in and do the on screen, and I can't actually, and what's really funny, if I can't make the Toraiz the master clock and everything follow it. So hopefully that's something in a firmware update they're going to address, because I would sure hate to think that they took that away. You know what I mean? That it's something that they're not going to move on to the other system. I've noticed in Hot Slice here, so the Hot Slice feature, you just get back here to this, looks like yeah, it's almost like hotkeys. If you're familiar with like the DDJ SX2, things like that, you can like pop it in cue points. So that's kind of a nice feature as well too. What else do we got here? That effects, the effects level. Once again on the Toraiz, in order to run the different effects, I have to like hop into a screen. It's not the best workflow in the world. I've made it work, but that does look like another improvement. There's an actual undo button, which I don't think I have an undo button on my Toraiz. Of course, we get the play, pause. I like how they made them as like buttons, like a CDJ, rather than these little chiclet buttons. You know, I kind of do like the whole 8/8 on the step sequencer rather than 16 across. And there's a button to clear the sequence, which is funny because I don't believe I have a button on my Toraiz to clear the sequence. Now, you can correct me if I'm wrong because, you know, I did just get this. I am still learning it. So that's what really bothers me. Before I even got a chance to learn this thing, already a new one comes out. So I may return mine. But once again, in my DJ setup, if you've ever seen my desk, I don't really know where I would put a CDJ form factor drum machine. The other one kind of works well for my system. Having a tempo fader is nice. So if you want to mix with vinyl or you mix with something else, you have an actual tempo fader and can actually beat match this thing properly. The input level is another one too, where on the Toraiz, the input level is a knob on the back of it. So having an input level right on the front makes way more sense as well too. What else am I noticing right here real quick? You know, for the most part, except for, like I say, the hot slice feature's new. The lack of the Stan Smith filter is kind of a bummer. And then there's like, but this is the big one right here for me, that sampling button. Because right now, if I want to sample, there's a lot of shit you got to go through, man. Like you have to, you know, pick your pad, go on the, you know, hit the touch screen, go into the sampling mode, you know, adjust how you want to do your sample. There's a lot of shit you need to do just to yank up a sample. So I'd like to think that it's a little easier to sample on this thing. Like I really haven't seen, there's been no actual tutorials yet on this. So anyways, I guess the real question is this something that you would buy or not buy? As a DJ and you have the space besides some CDJs, I guess it kind of makes sense. In my case, just for my setup and for where I usually go, I kind of like my setup. The one thing they haven't really addressed is the fact that it looks like they're doing the send returns. Let me see if I can. Well, there's no way to, it doesn't really matter to look at the back of it. But the way they seem to run it to sample is they sample out of the send returns, which is fine if you don't have an RMX 1000 effects processor because you can't use the send returns through it and make it all work properly. So the only way that I've figured out how to do it is I would split, you know, do the 1/4 inch like Y cable, get 2 of them, split that out of my send. So one is going into the effects processor, the other one's going into the Toraiz. And then, of course, I'm taking the master out and picking its own channel, which kind of makes more sense because then, once again, if I have the Toraiz on its own channel, I can run the effects of as well, too. I can do effects on top of the drum machine using either the effects processor or the built-in effects on the mixer. So just thought I'd get a jump, let you guys know this is kind of what's going on. You can go to Pioneer, you can go to YouTube, look at the videos and all the other fun stuff, and that's kind of it. I don't know what more to say about it. We'll see if I end up trading mine in or not, because if I trade mine in at this point, I'm going to lose $300 for having it for 2 months. That doesn't seem like the greatest thing in the world, but I'm really going to be interested to see somebody actually compare these things side by side, and I'd love to hear what Pioneer has to say about this. Is this a replacement for the Toraiz? Is this a completely different product? Are they going to upgrade the firmware on the Toraiz to have the same kind of screens as this thing? Because like this actually has a screen that shows you the like your sequence screen. It just has a couple different screens on it that would be handy to have on the Toraiz, and I see absolutely zero reason why the firmware wouldn't be the same for both. You know, they should have the exact same features because the projects can be moved over between two. Like it's essentially the same, different form factor. They've added a couple things, they've taken away a couple things. Anyways, guys, that's going to be it for me, and I will talk to you guys later.